Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the September 8th, 2025 regular council meeting of the town of the Pas. Tonight, we're again acknowledged that we're gathered in Treaty 5 territory. That's the traditional and ancestral lands of the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other Indigenous people and the homeland of the Red River Métis people. And so with that, I will call the meeting to order. We have Councillor Forster is absent, Councillor Manage is absent, and Councillor Atkinson is absent tonight, and all absent their regrets. We'll move on to, somebody should have a resolution to adopt the agenda.
Is there any additions? Moved by myself, second by Councillor Hill, resolve that the agenda be adopted as presented.
There's no further questions. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Was all approved. Okay, somebody should have a resolution for confirmation of the minutes.
Resolution number 2025-167, moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper. Resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of August 25th, 2025 be hereby approved, all statutory declarations having been complied with.
Perfect. Everybody had a chance to review the minutes. Any concerns? Seeing none. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, recognition period. Anybody want to share any of the great stuff that's happening within our communities over the last couple of weeks?
We got to get a car wash on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went for the fundraiser for the travel to Costa Rica for the students, so they had quite a lineup there. Quite a few cars went through, so it was good to see.
Yeah, it was great that our fire department could support that grad group. I do have a couple, if you don't mind, the OCN potato giveaway, the great potato giveaway race or whatever. So that was a great thing, great neighborly offer by our friends from Opaskwayak Cree Nation. I know many people have got some potatoes, so thank you for that. And I'm sure that I know there was lots left, so I'm sure there's still more to be given. I also wanted to just give a little bit of recognition to our staff. So we've had a multiple issue with many complaints over time with regards to this one area located on Cathedral and Hogan, where there was a lot of unnecessary activity taking place, people doing things that they shouldn't be doing underneath the trees. And with the attention that our staff brought to it, to those people that are responsible, ended up getting it cleaned up and done a great job. And you'll see it on our minutes, within our minutes, just how we can open it up. And I just want to maybe make a comment with regards to other areas within our community. Those are the type of activities we can do to reduce crime by either putting up lights, by reducing these sort of blocking areas, making it not comfortable where people can just hang around. So I encourage everybody to sort of, if you have an area or a concern, please pass it on to our staff. Call the office and maybe there's something that we can do to support that. The other thing, again, I got a couple for staff, the paving plans. I appreciate all the work that our staff's going on. I know there's some challenges on delays. So people need to understand that this is not a delay from ours, it's a delay on the supply. There was hotel issues, they're having equipment issues. So please, your patience is greatly appreciated. And our goal is to do all the work that we have identified. Again, this year's project was a little bit more bumpy than typical years. So again, appreciate the work of our staff to keep that moving forward. And then the last thing, sort of exciting stuff that I want to just highlight is Sam and Tanvir done a great job of setting up sort of a small group to sort of move the rebuild of a building on Edwards Avenue, formerly known as the Lido. They've got a good cross-functional team that has got lots of experience from different areas. And again, there's going to be a lot of things happening. So great engagement by our community. And I'm sure there's still gonna be some challenges in front of us to move things forward. But you know, it's something that we can really hang our hat on. It's not about a project, about building a project for today, it's about building a project for the future. And something that's still gonna be worth it in 20, 25 years from now, not what's good today. Anybody else have anything? Okay, so moving on to, we've got some great citizens here today, which we don't usually get some audience, so we appreciate you coming out. So maybe come up to the chair, to the table, and just introduce yourself and tell us what you're all about.
It's first.
Whoever would like to go first.
Who's on second?
Mr. Whaley could go first.
First. That was my dad, Mr. Whaley. So I'll answer to it. Thanks, council, for a bit of time here. I've got a few beats and okay, some comments on some jobs well done by the town this year, and perhaps some projects here that I could bring your attention to. First of all, I'd like to compliment the town's employees on all the groundskeeping this year. Vast improvement from last year, thinking here primarily about Rotary Park. I'm a Rotary member, and so we're always kind of keeping an eye open for what gets done down there. So much better job. I understand that it was on the list of to-dos for weed control this year that my untrained eye doesn't appear to have been done. So it's still there for next year. Okay.
It did get done. Yeah, I live next to that park and I've seen them spray it.
Well,
It's 2 years in a row. I agree that it doesn't seem effective, but I'm not sure how many years.
they
how
know
long
that
it
the
takes.
weeds know that they've been sprayed, but.
Yeah, I know.
Up closer look.
No, I.
One thing that has recurred here the last couple of years, I've talked to Sam a couple of times in the past and it's come up again. I ran into Sam earlier today, so I think I've got some additional information that he's provided on a couple of issues, but I'll share it with council. For the last 2 to 3 years, we've had problems with beavers at Snackland Pond plugging up the culvert down there. Well, the culvert is full to the top, and that's the culvert I'm referring to is on the public walkway as it emerges onto Centennial and then runs down in front of the town garage. So it's a 4-foot culvert and the water's at top from the top. The 2 culverts that are under the road immediately adjacent to it are full to the top too. And there are beaver dams, small capacity downstream as that drain that goes out to the boardwalk there. So with fall coming on, I'm sure it's on the to-do list to get that cleaned out. I only bring it up because it's come up a number of times in previous years. The town has attended at least 4 or 5 times with personnel and never did clean out the culvert properly. It simply gets rebuilt. There was a gate in front of the large culvert to keep that animal out of there last year, and for some reason it's been removed. And so with winter coming on, it can't be ignored. The bad side of that, not that I have anything against rodents, but the water level on Snackland Pond is so high that it's killed or is killing 50 to 75% of the birch trees that are along there. So, and if it's left unattended, there won't be left there other than a few tamarack trees or whatever. So just in the sense of trying to preserve what we've got there, I think some quick removal would be in hand.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
The walking path between Snackland and UCN, I don't know if council or staff has had any complaints on it, but noble intentions to fire guard and make a park-like appearance along that walking trail, but it's pretty ugly right now with all the weed growth. So when I spoke with Sam earlier today, he said there's a game plan to go in there in November. I've had a number of people make the same comment to me and whatnot. So just for council's edification, it's something that needs attention and sounds like it's going to.
No, thanks for bringing that forward. I walked down that today and noticed the exact same thing and had it on my list to ask.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but it is noxious weeds that are along there, big weed in the kochia and whatnot, so we should clean it up. It's only, there's enough weed bank or seed bank there for the next millennium to keep it going, so it's once it's cleaned up, it's gonna require some weed control too. I guess the one thing that's kind of on my mind, and I'm so glad to see Joe Mars here, is the outdoor rink snow removal. And I think I've talked with a number of counselors and yourself, Mayor, on this in the past. Our club Rotary, one of several that put close to $250,000 into building that thing. Are a little befuddled why we can't come up with a game plan for snow removal. A lot of the snow removal that's actually been done on there in the previous couple of years has been the kids scrape it to the side and then somebody else that I know very well that comes along and shovels it off and whatnot. There has been on occasion, I think, town equipment has gone out there. But, and I know it can't be a priority relative to streets and walkways and the rest of it, but, and when I spoke with Joe Martin more recently here, I think it was this spring or last fall, whenever it was, he had talked about developing some kind of a plan that was a cooperative town versus volunteer schedule of snow removal. And I don't know if you got anywhere with that. I've heard nothing more about it, but
Yomar's here, so if he doesn't mind.
Part of the, sure, as far as the volunteer committee, I did speak with a previous coach of the Blizzard and they were on board to start this year with assisting in that process.
okay.
With obviously a change in coaching staff, I also put it out to the new coach Ty, and I've yet to hear from him, but I don't see any problem with that going forward. That said, we also have new equipment with the skid steer that we got.
Great.
Yeah, over the summer, and that will help drastically with the removal.
It has a snow blower attachment.
Yeah, so we'll be able to utilize that.
Yeah.
A lot more this year, because we can use our guys to do that rapidly.
I think in Joe Martin's, because we talked about it, and Sam too, and everyone else common sense, but the longer it gets left after snow, the kids go there, push the snow to the side to have a little bit of a space to skate. And then inevitably they lose their pucks in there, so I, on one occasion, shoveled the snow off to the side and around the entire thing and picked up 13 pucks, so a guy like me isn't gonna take their personal snowball there because unless you get a deal on shear kids because you'll wreck it. So, you know, after a 4 or 5 inch snowfall, in priority with all the other snow removal, quicker is better to get that there and it gives the kids a lot more time on the ice. Every day that you walk by there, even when it's cold, there's always kids out there and, as we all know, so. In respect to the effort and the cost that we put forward on there, we're hoping that we can come up with a better schedule of maintenance there.
I think for sure with the addition of the skid steer and the attachment snowboard, that'll help drastically just because, you know, we have staff that will be able to utilize that machine to do it. Whereas normally in the past, obviously we didn't have that and every other machine was being used on the streets, sidewalk.
Okay, well,
For me, that should be something that we'd be able to handle a lot better. And
that's great. And if there's occasion to ask for volunteers from the community, Rotary, as I say, had a chit in the game, so we're there, we can come and help. But once it gets the volume that precludes us going what they're doing, we're relying on.
And where the volunteer part comes in, that's where I'd like to get the North Blizzard involved and maybe the fall liner, but particularly the North Blizzard where they would on smaller snowfalls where it doesn't make sense to use a machine.
Yeah.
That they get 5 or 10 guys that go out there with shovels, they make 2 passes with bushes.
Yeah.
And they got skates on and they do it pretty quick, so that's where I see that kind of factoring into the equation.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just not to belabor this point, but for the past couple of years, the ice surface is never in much before a week before Christmas, and sometimes not until Christmas. I'm driving my skidoo on Rocky Lake in the 3rd week in November. I was told by one of the staff over there that they can't flood it until it's 20 below for at least 4 days running. As far as I know, the water still freezes at 0 degrees, so I would like to see. And I think the town or the fire department were typically asked to go and flood it. And if that's still the arrangement in terms of putting the ice in, hoping we can get going earlier on that. The season is so limited as it is for those kids and anybody that uses that. So There needs to be a initial work effort to go out there because there's 2 to 3 inches clearance underneath the boards to the asphalt surface. Because of the, when they built it, everything's plumb or level rather, except the asphalt surfaces. So you need to go pack some snow in there or do something initially to contain the water. Or put it on there. So again, if you need volunteers to help you do that, give us a call. Let us not wait until the new year. If we can manage it. And I guess the last thing, I think I've spoken with a couple of folks here, Jonathan's in the back, and yourself, Mayor, on Rotary's planning on doing a centennial project. Our centennial, or centenary for Rotary is 2029, 100 years in this community. And if the current membership is kind of getting long in the tooth and receding hairlines and all the rest of it are still around in 4 or 5 years. We have a bit of a game plan, which is involves, for those that haven't heard about it, down at Rotary Park, actually pouring a concrete stage and incorporating it into a portable tarping cover that can be erected and taken down for events, so that anytime there's not something organized down there, there is a concrete slab out there, but it doesn't impair the view of that river, which is $1 million view as far as I'm concerned. There's so much history and whatnot there. And if we would run power to it, and with the intent of trying to host some kind of summer event down there. As well as providing it to, if it works, I mean, it's town land, and I don't know what hurdles there may be in terms of having a private event down there, but if people wanted to have some kind of perhaps get married down there or have a family reunion or a small gathering and whatnot, I don't know the logistics of renting the space as opposed, because it is a public space. But try and promote some riverfront use down there, because our riverfront, in my humble opinion, is very underused. There's so much history there and so many things that could be done. So, of course, the town many years ago had a riverfront development plan that got on paper, but I don't think seen the light of day and very often in any event. So I've spoken with Jonathan about our timeline, what we need. We've got some initial quotes. We probably won't do any sod turning or any activities down there before 27 or 28. But I wanted to give lots of heads up, and I don't know if there's any issues of permitting or approvals or public reviews or anything that has to go on beforehand, but
we're fully, like, I did give council heads up from our discussion around that, Kent, and this council is full 100% support in doing whatever and partnering and doing whatever it can to help sort of develop that area. We agree it's underutilized, and if there's some investment from the community, we're on board for that. So I think having a good sort of joint committee that maybe somebody from council can, or somebody from staff can be involved with you guys. But for sure, we're on board.
Well, thank you for your time.
All right. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Brzezicki.
Thank you very much for allowing us a few minutes to speak. I'm here representing a newly formed Northern Lights independent living co-op, correct? Somewhat. We've got a small group together with really able assistance from Theater and Community Pictures, Sam Shapiro, and with good resource from Jonathan from the CDC. What we're trying to do is duplicate something like Valhalla's, what Valhalla is. We know that there's a real need for independent living in our community, so we're starting that process. We're in the beginning stages right now, and I guess to be, for lack of a better ask, we need a home. And we need to know, what we're here for is to ask the town of the Paw about the ability to have property to potentially put that building on. We're at a stage now, we spoke to a few developers already that have shown interest in working with us. We're being incorporated as we speak, if not already incorporated, so we're gonna go the cooperative route. And hopefully we can put a application in for the intake for the next, or maybe early in 2026, the cooperative intake for housing initiatives. If not, there'll be other programs that we're gonna try to, catch a hold of. But that's our initial goal right now. We've met with the gold majors and had some discussion with them. We've been on the radio talking about what our plans are. We are meeting with the RM too, just out of courtesy, because the challenge there is that we need wastewater deal, and there isn't any in the RM as of no other than possibly the trailer park, but we're really interested in asking the town, has the town got some property?
Yeah.
In discussions with Jonathan, there's some areas that we've talked about south of Valhalla there.
Yeah.
And what would those properties, if the town had them, what would they be worth to purchase?
Yeah, well, I guess I will just make a couple of comments. This council is 100% supportive and will not be a roadblock of a senior housing complex. I'm pretty confident I can say that. I guess what I would ask, and my understanding is through the CDC, is that there's been areas already developed or already identified as a potential housing area. So I think through the CDC and through the seniors co-op, there should be a formal request coming from that group to say what you're looking for from council with regards to support to move that forward, whether it's land, incentives, whatever it happens to be. And then I think that's sort of the approach that can get the discussion happening. If there's areas within our community that haven't been set up with the appropriate services and infrastructure, I think this is where we need to understand that, so that once we get that commitment and it can move forward. I know we're working with Colliers right now to create a community planning sort of outline. That's where the investment also could come from the community that says, if we're going to do this and we've got these two potential investors and this one's signed on, then the town will invest in making sure the land's ready now. So I think if I could ask, maybe council can also jump in, but if we got something through the CDC and through the co-op on exactly what you're looking for, specifically, to make the project move forward, I think that's the best approach for us to.
I think we may have even identified some of that in an email that was sent to Bolo, correct? That there are some asks in there of what we're looking for, and we can be more specific. And I think that was just an email that Sandra you sent.
Yeah, like as it is right now, Rod, like we have land within the community that we can develop. So if you have a parcel that you're interested in, somebody should bring that specifically. That parcel is what we're looking for. With regards to tax incentives, we do have the existing tax incentive program that's documented within our bylaw today. And I know as well as that the municipality is currently looking at a TIF, a tax incremented financing bylaw, but hasn't been approved. It's being investigated. That could likely be applied for that. If there's something more that you're looking for, I think that's where we you as a group should come to us to say, this is for us to make this project go forward. This is what else we need to make it viable. We know whether our tax incentives show 75 after 1 year, 50, but if you're saying we need to spread that over 7 years and get a tip. And then the infrastructure, like I said, once we know if that's, the Willow property is where you're wanting to go, then this is when we can start driving our internal work to get ready for it.
It's very important that we have a piece of property identified, because in talking to the developers that I talked to, they need to know about site map and all the information from there in order to be able to give us.
Circle it on the drawing, and I'm sure that next meeting it will be approved.
Like the mayor says, just identify exactly what you want, how much you want, Right now, we are open for business. We will partner with it, guaranteed.
Yeah.
And if you're running into roadblocks, we won't be one of them, as mayor says, we'll remove those. We're looking for development like that, something the community really needs.
Well, for sure.
Like it's, how big of a unit, have any idea what you're?
The minimum size, if we go to cooperative route, the minimum size is a 30 unit, that's the minimum we can go to. If we don't go that route, and I mean, we have to make an application for their intake, it doesn't mean that we're gonna get approved. That's what the minimum size for the cooperative initiative is, a 30 unit, similar to what
Yep.
Valhalla is, but it could be a different structure, it could be ranch style, it could be whatever.
You know, it's early in the game, but do you have any designs, like you know, 2 bedrooms, balconies, car parking?
That's all in the formal discussion, and I know when we talked to some of the developers already, they brought that up, they said that when you start talking about those, we add and subtract those in there. The one that I did talk to has done predominantly seniors development throughout Manitoba and Saskatchewan, including Snow Lake. And if you go to their site, there's 20 or 30 of their developments that lay out the total, the development shots, pictures and all.
Are you looking for initial investors for the co-op?
Well, I think we're not there yet, and I think when we get there, we'll have to decide. Because all of this is gonna come down to cost too, and that's usually drives everything eventually. You know, the people that wanna move in there, I know that there's a lot of people that stop me on the street, I know there are people who wanna be there, but everybody has a stopping point that says, I can't do it at that price.
We're waiting for you then.
What's that?
We're waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Rod, like I said, pass on to your group, we are fully supportive, and open for anything, so. You know, I know I've seen, through the CDC, I've seen some preliminary sketches of land development on where this area and other developments are going. But once we sort of get something official and we know it's going forward, then this is where this council, we need to know soon, because if we have to pull a debenture in 2026 for land development, to be able to start clearing land and for the next subdivision, if this is where it's gonna go with sewer, then it has to be included in our budget discussions coming up. So, you know, we're almost into, you know, we'll be looking at budgets here within the next couple of months, so yeah, so we're fully on board for you.
So you're really want us to identify one piece of property that we would be interested in, and we'll go for it.
If that's what if you identify the piece of property you're interested in, for sure, and then if there's other options, if there's an option A and B, C, then, you know, put it there. If there's, you know, for us, it's, you pick an area that isn't developed yet, you know, the timelines on that, right?
Perfect. Good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for coming.
We're just about, not too long, I'm just gonna make it just a general comment, usually it's marketing. Thankful that we have the Rotary Club, Alliance, and Pensman. You have a lot of different things donated to the town.
Yeah.
Walking path, outdoor rinks, parks, and all of that, it's basically saving the town a lot of money. It also puts a lot of extra strain on the town's resources to do that and all these things. And I would encourage you, any of the clubs to, once you give it to us, don't just walk away. If you're still able, you have members that can assist, we control whatever, assist, help us look after it, because it is a lot of things that certainly benefit the town, but it's also something that maybe wasn't planned for by staff and stuff, like the parking and whatnot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so moving along here, we got minor subdivision resolution.
Resolution number 2025-168, moved by myself, second by Councilor Hopper. Whereas the applicant has requested to consolidate existing parcel D with their adjacent title. Therefore be resolved that council approves subdivision applications filed number 4457-25-710, subject to a joint use agreement that will provide for legal access to the Paw Friendship Center over parcel D with the following conditions. Submit written confirmation from the town of Paw that taxes on the land to be subdivided for the current year plus any arrears have been paid, or that any arrangement satisfactory to council has been made. Satisfy council's conditions of approval as set out under the resolution. In order to meet the conditions of council, please arrange to have the municipality submit confirmation. submit a copy of a joint use agreement prepared by the lawyer that will provide for legal access to the Paul Friendship Center over the consolidated parcel deed to be registered against all affected titles pursuant to section 76 of the real property.
That's to one of the subdivisions.
Yes, so this is really just completing the land transfer of the building, the Friendship Center building itself. But because we have a shared entrance, that's just allowing the regular stuff, the regular legalities around that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All in favor? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Okay, payrolls of account. Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Hopper, second by myself, resolved that council authorize the following accounts. Pay period number 18 in the amount of $143,952.23. General checks number 32808, 32830 in the amount of $52,375.81. EFTs in the amount of boy, that's a big number. $1,076,706.30.
Perfect. Is there any questions around the check registry, Councillor Hopper?
Just a couple of questions, since I don't have the invoices. The one for Rocky Mountain Phoenix, is that equivalent to William Center or what is it?
Rocky Mountain Phoenix.
27. Okay, very important. And Petrie Tire. That just, we have something that's a major.
I don't get those backups either.
4,600.
That's for the folder.
Lower. And the last one was True New Development 784. Is that a rental? What is that?
The rental for a tele, what was that about, at the airport?
Not too long.
That's rental for airport.
For the airport.
What's the plan on that? Are we planning on buying that then?
Looking two different units, gently used one and a new one, so we haven't really found a gently used one. So we might have to keep moving, because, the new ones are really expensive.
How much did we budget for that? I just don't like seeing us throw away $1,000 every couple of times,
We're still looking, we recently reached out to, vendor, so they're supposed to submit a quote, so let's see how it goes. It comes out to.
yeah.
What did we budget for that?
That's why I can't remember, I thought it was 50 or something like that.
About 60.
Yeah. I can tell you in a second, if we give me a minute.
Uh,
2025 budget. The 2025 budget,
50.
yeah, 50, that's it. Well, if we can't, yeah, okay. Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried. Landfill expansion project resolution.
Resolution number 22025-170. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Hopper. Resolved that council approve initial design, final design, and tendering services for the landfill expansion project to JRCC up to the amount of $120,000, and to be taken from the carry forward landfill expansion feasibility project available in 2025.
So this is part of the $4.3 million we received as part of the Grow grant, I think it was last year. And I guess maybe just share some of your thoughts on this, Sam.
Yeah, I think last we spoke with council, I think it was agreement to make this a shovel-ready project to bring forward as we further assess other funding options and making some determinations in terms of where the capital dollars should be prioritized. So that's all this will do is bring us to that point. We can comment here that the landfill is nearing end of life. From our department's perspective, once you're within a 10-year window, you need to start planning for these large scale projects. So we don't want the public to get too concerned that we're gonna close the dump tomorrow or anything like that. So we will squeeze every last bit out of the landfill. And we'll push it as far as we can. However, we do need to start the planning process for expanding.
Glad they don't have that line with people.
Pardon?
Glad they don't have that line with time for people.
The other question I have on the resolution is when you're talking about design, final design and tendering services, is that, like, we're not moving forward with this project yet. This is to do the design and have it ready to be able to tender it if we were gonna do that, right?
Yeah, they can have the tender,
Yeah.
like up to the tender completion and with the pause.
And then I'll just make one comment that I've made multiple times and my fellow councilors have made in the past. The community just doesn't need much more space. We need a modernized waste stream collection system in our community so that it's modern. So different trucks, different waste streams, how to collect them, how to collect recycling if we're recycling, whatever it happens to be, so that we're just not creating a bigger space out there so that we can dump more garbage by three guys driving around on a truck picking up garbage manually.
Yeah, and that was part of the request for some of the additional funds is to explore those on the
Yeah.
pickup side. But also part of the grant application was to diversify our waste stream collection to bring the landfill into
Yeah.
state.
This is the way it's being done now. It's the way it's been done for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Good work on that, guys.
Sure.
I just had a question for clarification here on this. So like we're going with Jared Cousins. I mean, you give expertise and value for money, but I'm assuming the main reasons they're the lowest bid, correct?
Lowest bid, they have a wealth of experience up north with similar projects. The project we did with them at the lagoon, I can't say enough good things about the leadership that they provided and the support they continue to provide on that. So one thing I really appreciate with them is whatever the issue is, you just have to pick up the phone and call, regardless if it's landfill related or not. So there's definitely a value that they bring to the table.
Well, I do understand that. I guess my question is like looking at this and they are the low bid, however, we're putting in a contingency that go up to 120, which would actually move them past another bid. So how does that work with our tendering policy? Generally we go with the lowest bid, but in this case, the variance that we're allowing take them above another bid.
Yeah, the variance would be for out of scope from this existing. So as we, let's say, explore other options for waste collection, right? So different types of trucks or possibly a plan or a game plan for how we're going to collect with the bin system, how would that look like? Those are outside of this current scope.
So we're in compliance with our tender policy 100%, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I had the same, good question, Counselor. I had the same concerns with the numbers, like, how can somebody be, 72,000 and the next guy be 250,000, so, but.
They bid on the same thing.
Yeah.
We had a very extensive phone call and with them and they're fully aware of everything we need.
Any other questions? Seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, none, carried. Okay, reports. Museum board,
Meeting tomorrow night.
nice. Chamber of Commerce, Councilor Manage is away, but I believe their next meeting is within a couple of weeks. I know I did talk to their president today to ask if I could attend their next meeting to talk about community safety. And I was gonna share that later with you guys. CDC, we had a meeting last week, we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago.
Couple of weeks where we reported on that.
Yeah, and we're having a meeting next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but following Wednesday. Destination marketing, Councilor Forster, Atkinson, recycling. We have a meeting for recycling on Monday. We do have a draft constitution, we have a draft, terms of reference or how we do business. And we do have a date planned for the AGM, we just need to get it, have another meeting on Monday coming up to approve that. And we officially had, Michelle Sept, join the recycling board, so we have 2 more vacancies. That if anybody knows anybody who wants to join this exciting board of recycling, let us know. KSD, nothing on that, and no youth council. And I guess the youth counselor,
Library board needs some Thursday.
oh, did I skip you? Sorry, yeah, Thursday. Sorry.
No, no worries.
The youth counselor, are we gonna reach out to?
I've already reached out to them.
Okay, perfect,
So I'm waiting.
perfect, thank you. Is there any other reports from council that wanna give anything, an update? I know I sat through a board meeting with, One North, the other day, with regards to putting together a resolution coming from the board to show the importance of developing, meeting the how the Port of Churchill, this rail line meets the Canada's, main economic drivers for Canada. I did have a question with regards to the town's audit. When is the town's audit gonna be done?
Very soon. I got an email from him today.
So
So he was
within,
asking for subject.
okay. Cause we're getting close to the end of twenty
Yeah,
twenty.
we got some feedback from some document from lawyer.
Okay. And I didn't have anything else. Well, I guess what I will say, I guess I could add it in there. I did ask the Chamber of Commerce if I could be invited to the next meeting, to talk about community safety. So as we talked about tonight, the work that was done on Hogan Street is a great example of how we can reduce, the issues within our community and to safety-proof our community a little bit better by removing these barriers. But I did speak to Dan, the president of the chamber today, and I said, like, what else can the municipal or the businesses do, and what supports do they need from the municipalities? Because we know there's areas like, back lanes that, people just sit around because there's a sitting spot, for them to loiter. There's, the front of the Westoba, I know that, there's some work being done with the museum. We've got, like I said, Westoba, but then there's some other things that just need to be replaced and not make it so convenient. So if there's something businesses need from us, and that's what I was going to ask at the meeting, is that please come forward and we'll help you, because, we're doing everything that we can, and we want to be continuing to doing what we can. Okay. Unfinished business. Any questions with any of that stuff?
I don't have questions with any of that stuff. I have questions about what's not on here.
Okay.
Like just as an example, for some issues I brought up, graffiti, again, I brought that up, I don't know how many times, that's not even mentioned in here. And there's an issue sheet that got brought up a couple months back regarding cleaning up some of the signage in the community, and Placing some faded signs, painting
Yeah.
poles, replacing poles, things like that. Those aren't, mentioned in here at all. One other thing too, I wouldn't mind seeing on here, some of the stuff that maybe we have approved in the budget that aren't quite done yet, maybe showing on here, like for example, the garbage bins down where the ice or the filling shack,
Yeah.
things like that. The point of this was to keep things on visually on our radar. And it seems like this list kind of changes meeting to meeting, and I kind of thought we had kind of agreed that it wouldn't come off until council
Yeah.
said it would come off.
And that's a good, I think we're going into budget now, I think that's a great point. We should actually get a actual budget update from 2025 on what's left out and what's gonna be carried over potentially. And so we have an understanding of how we can try to get it done this year, but that's a good point.
This question on the signs, the faded signs, probably 6% of the cost of the sign would be actually can those signs be sent out and be redone, the actual signs, and be repainted somewhere cheaper? Rather than buy the whole sign?
I've never seen that as an offered service. I can look into it. I'm not aware of posts, it's cheaper. And I do apologize, we've been trying to get them to sign on it. The school zone sign is just kind of taken up. That same person does that, so it's gonna take up a lot of this.
Yeah, but I think what Councillor Allen is saying as well, though, is that we're getting a pretty big, old business list, and the list doesn't seem to be accurate because there's things that are on the list. And then we know they're not complete, and then they're not being reported. So unless that's the process is, you're only highlighting things that we are, but there is a master list out there that's being managed, then we should make sure that the master list is still visible to council so they don't think it's just being dropped off the list. That's all.
Well, put Jonathan on the spot, but I'm assuming you're here tonight, you brought the map of Devon Park that we want to rezone that portion.
Not yet, no. I was here for the housing co-op.
As I mentioned last time,
Yeah,
we don't necessarily need the exact. I mean, we can do half of it, half of the park. It can still be used for park if it's even zoned commercial.
So there has been discussions on that, so.
yeah, I remember that in the union, we had a bit about that.
Okay,
We'll have some for you.
next meeting, perfect.
Yeah.
One little comment for Trent, Councillor Allen, there's been some graffiti cleanup that I've noticed. I think it was the credit union.
Yes, there was that one right at the corner there.
That one there is cleaned up, so I just,
I think they did the skate park too.
Or did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe the skate park was cleaned up.
Yes.
I noticed right away it was done. Yeah.
I'm not sure who did it.
And nobody painted over it yet. So.
Was it the business that did it,
I'm not too sure. I just noticed that it was gone. It was blue and whatever.
I do have video of a person doing it. We're actively searching.
Where's that, the skate park?
The graffiti.
So no, we had the skate park repainted, completely repainted, and then it got tagged that night, and I have the individual on video, we're just trying to identify. There's some distinguishing objects and features that
Don't say any word.
maybe help. So
Well, it goes back to, again, community safety, lighting, we need cameras to be put up. I've heard some work has been done behind the scenes that, could be potentially $200,000. We need to bring that forward. And then if it's $200,000, it's $200,000. And let council decide whether the community is ready to spend that amount of money. But really what the impact of that is, because we need to do one. Like it's daily, I don't know who else is getting feedback, but I get feedback once or twice a day about the issues that are going on, and people believe that we're not doing nothing. And I know this community is doing lots. I know that our CSOs are working. I know that we're doing what we can do. And this is gonna tie into, and maybe we bring it up here now, is that, I think we need to have that community safety discussion. I'm suggesting we do Thursday, September 18th at 6:00. And let's just nail down a date. I know we talked about maybe sending out a survey to get to see, and maybe do it on a weekend. But from people that I've heard, they don't wanna do anything on weekends, it's their time. So let's pick a date, let's go down, let's have a discussion, let's be able to show to the community the things that we control, the things what they can help us control, and put the process in place to be able to deal with some of this stuff. Because, you know, I think people don't understand, people don't understand that our CSOs do, put intoxicated people in detention. People don't understand that we're going, but you know, there's great ideas out there. Do we make back lanes non-walking areas? Like, you know, do we do where's the survey being done? And I think we've talked about this in this council. What survey has been done to identify areas that are low lighting, identify areas where people are hanging out and fix that? And fix it by, you know, plow the area flat if that's what it is, because we don't want people hanging out there, and put lights there and, you know, make it uncomfortable that a sprinkler comes on and cleans the steps or whatever. I don't know what the answer is, like, but sitting around and hoping and dreaming that things are gonna get better are not gonna get better. Everybody's frustrated. The councils, I know us as a council, we're out talking to provincial leaders, talking to the federal leaders about bail reform and about all of the issues that are going, about the lack of services within our community, that there's no addiction services within communities for people that get help closer to home. So it's not that we're just as frustrated as everybody else, but if there's little things that we can do as a community, let's start doing them. You know, let's do the easy stuff, like there's a place where people are just hanging out because there's a log there that everybody sits on. Get rid of the log, it's garbage anyways. Sorry about that,
I see it every day.
I get it called every day,
Yeah,
but that's okay, because we are gonna make it better.
yeah, no, we are. I've said a few things to some people and, the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been very nice. I actually called, 911 and then I canceled the call because I moved along and I was, told by the person, what did you called us for that? Yes, I did.
Anytime there's somebody breaking the law, call the RCMP, that's their jobs,
No,
period. Let them decide whether they're gonna respond or not. It's not up to us to decide whether that's against the law or not. If we believe it's an issue and it's against the law, call the RCMP, that's their role, period. And I tell that to people all the time.
Hey, Rick, Rick Mercer, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, moving on, any other issues, seeing none?
Just to bring it back on topic there, everything we just talked about has at some point probably been on the
Yes.
finished business list, so keeping it on there keeps it in front of us too.
Tricom recycling dump trail requests, you see the correspondence. So what they're looking for, this came up when we did a visit out there, myself and Councillor Hopper. There's an issue where they do collect a lot of garbage as part of their recycling. It piles up all over the place. They have a hard time getting it to the dump. I know our crews have a hard time getting out there all the time on our garbage trucks. So this would help them. This is about, you know, between, you know, no more than $20,000. It may be something that could, the town of the Paw employees could, if the town purchased one, they could use it. And yeah, so that's all.
This question, I know when recycling needed a vehicle, they approached, the three funders. They do the same with this?
Yes, it sounds like, it's what we decide what we want. So if we want this to be a town of the Paw piece of equipment, so that the town of the Paw employees control it as well. So when guys at the public works need to use it to go and do parks in the summer and stuff, because this is not active in use all the time at the recycling center, then we could sort of create a shared thing. But I do know that, John from OCN also said that they would support it if that was what was needed.
I'd like to see it just, we do our 1/3 and have it stay out there. They would make, I'm sure they would use it every week. It's gonna take them a couple of months to get caught up there.
So, yeah, so we'll bring that to the next meeting. I don't think it'll be a problem, so we'll bring it forward.
Just since Sam's here, is this something that our staff needs or are our needs being met already with our current equipment?
This is something that would definitely make us more nimble in terms of utilizing it, so, thinking about. So it's been a lot of work out in the cemetery for beautification, supply, and a lot of ranches, so, you know, as you can imagine, I think that'll all be back with half tons, sort of limiting in terms of how much you can do in one load. And then you can assume the amount of time used to unload that truck, so something with a dump trailer significantly increase that. And especially if we're looking to go on a more aggressive, let's say flattening, I think is the term used in certain areas, again, so just gives us more ability to haul or what efficiently, so we can definitely make use of it, you know, if it just depends on how often the recycling center. So if they're using it once a week and it's sitting for 4 days, then by all means, we'd be happy to make use of it as well.
Not all the recycling would give you a really good rental rate.
Okay, so, I'll bring that back to the recycling group. Shouldn't be a problem. Citizens period, nobody else here tonight. So can somebody move us?
Resolve that we now move ourselves into the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
So again, hats off to, Bola and the team there to get rid of that. That's a great picture of before and after, or the after, where it sort of reduces the hiding part and the visibility on that, so. Anything you wanted to add on that, Bola?
No, this was before that work was done.
Yeah.
So this be, that's, I think everything's before.
I think the plans, thing,
Sorry, those are the trees that are still left there.
yeah,
And they actually promised to work on these remaining parts. I've not been there since, Friday.
So this isn't our property, is that correct?
No.
Is this our?
No, it's not our property.
King's.
Oh, right, yes, so.
yeah, so I think like when you look at, if you look at the under unfinished business again, if you look at what the museum's got there, so, you know, enhancements for the museum really, you know, installing fences, controlling the access to the back, landscaping, the hedges, and, you know, we should get on that sooner than later. You know, the front steps, you know, we've got what other things can be done, but we should need to create an environment where loitering is not encouraged.
Just on that, did we, do anything kind of the Lido lot? There's a lot, all that stuff that's left in there where people are,
I talked to the CSO on Friday about that area to make sure that that place is fenced. So it's working with the owner of that property.
it's kind of like, the-
However, if nothing is being done, I told him that we'll have to do it temporary fencing. Just to make sure that we make it on purpose.
it's kind of like the game of whack-a-mole, you clean up one spot and go somewhere else and just can't catch up.
I just haven't made a point on that. That lot is disgusting. And there's more and more people and they'll clean it up and they'll come the next day or later on and the CSOs drive there quite regularly. And they'll, as soon as they drive, you can just see them, they disappear. And as soon as the CSOs leave, they're back again. So they could be around there all the time. It's,
Fencing.
it looks horrible, like it's got the trees, it's got broken fences, and, I don't know, the owner should be made to clean it up, simple as that. My opinion.
And I think you guys are working with the owner on that.
Yes.
Okay, moving along, the dehumidifier, so an issue sheet to purchase a dehumidifier for the arena. You read through it, it's for $63,000. The one that we have is unrepairable and it's sort of critical equipment to maintain ice conditions.
that one of the reasons I've heard people say the ice wasn't as good as it was last year?
Yeah,
not-
it's like, it's actually still pretty decent, but it struggles to hold it. Like obviously the dehumidifier is a big part of that. But because our chiller is new and our condenser new, it's done a pretty good job of keeping up considering the amount of use it's getting right now, so. We're doing okay, but we obviously
Oh, yeah.
need it in a hurry. Yeah, because once it ramps up, it's, again, and obviously the weather and the time that we had started, we had ice in for the 14th of August and for those camps, and it was very humid then, so like for us to have gotten through that, I think that says a lot for the condenser and the chiller that we have now, so we're running off zero dehumidification, so.
So, Jomar, what you're asking for is the purchase a humidifier or dehumidifier ASAP, and then you'll budget for a second one like most.
Right, yeah, so most facilities have two, so that in the case that one does fail, that the other one picks up the slack. And then you don't run into the issue of having to do that.
So if we, like, I don't know, I'm just gonna ask council, like, I don't wanna wait for 2 more weeks to make a decision that we need to make a decision on. Like, can we give direction to just get Jomar to get moving on purchasing this thing so that we can get it installed and then pass the resolution next meeting? You guys okay with that? Are you okay with it?
I completely agree with that, like, let's get on it. My question is, why are we in this situation?
It's a great question.
Is there a great answer?
Hey,
So the city guys come and do the startup every year, they go over equipment, so this leak may not have been detectable.
Well, that's not, like, sorry, I guess we should clarify my question.
why is it that old that we can't?
Yeah, like, the word obsolete is in there.
Yeah.
And also, and to quote it, most arenas have two of these going.
Yeah.
One, so why was that?
Well, I can't give you the answer why there wasn't a newer one or not two, because I've only been in this position for not even quite a year, it's over a year now.
But I think the second one can be, most arenas have it, but you can get by with one, so my
Right.
guess is that somebody at that, some point in time said. We can manage it and there's enough spare parts out there, like all equipment.
I'd rather double up.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and
Yeah.
like, all equipment. You're never getting any problems with it and you're maintaining it, you don't have any problems, but when you have failures like pipes,
And I'm
it's
guessing maybe
unpredictable.
whoever was, maybe the previous directors of maintenance then maybe they didn't know, they didn't know.
So it sounds like, as the mayor says, no problem, issue to go and get it, and we'll approve it next meeting. When you're talking to the supplier, tell them you're gonna order one next year. If
You know, they know already, yeah.
Get the same price.
Yeah,
So is that approval to get the one from last year too?
well, no, I guess it's indication that council is gonna approve for next year, so we should have that discussion with them.
Yeah,
I mean, like anything, you know, if we believe as a council next meeting that we're gonna put a second one in, and you can tie it into the installation now, and we can pay for it in 2026, then maybe that's what we do.
okay. That's-
And is there the potential to get a discount if we buy two at the same?
I feel like that's not out of the question. I would explore that right now, like tomorrow. Yeah, they've been really good with me, so it's already set up.
So Jomar, please proceed with getting the equipment we need to operate the building.
Okay, thank you.
And then, Rolla will need a resolution at the next meeting to officially pass this. Everybody's okay with that?
Money in the bank?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, AMM district meeting, so, anybody wanting to go to Thompson,
There's a Zoom option, so.
Yeah.
One can join by Zoom.
yeah, so let Bola know, and then unfortunately I won't be in attendance, I will be traveling that day, so. I will not be going up there.
I would like to know on time so that I'll be able to book for the accommodation because I learned that it's very challenging.
So date and that again.
October 8th.
Yeah,
From 10 to 2?
I know I won't be going. Is there a cost to do the Zoom? Is the Zoom
No,
free?
free.
There's-
I might do the Zoom.
Typically, we've driven up in the morning and driven back at night.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't think, if you can join by Zoom, that would be great, just like Bola knows.
So you still have to register?
You have to register
Okay.
as a link, people that want to join, either Zoom or person.
Right.
Okay, moving into the fun stuff here, so the GROW, grant that's been just announced by the provincial government. We've,
I would like to say something about GRO is a provincial grant to all municipalities in Manitoba. They started last year and we explored last year, and that was where we got the funding for landfill.
Yeah.
So they just announced this and they only gave us like a very short notice. So we have the list of some things projects that we're planning to do, but we're just waiting for council's approval before we do it, before we apply for this grant. It's basically going to be 50%. But if we're able to get other grants to pay for the remaining 50%, we do have some priority, but we want council to decide which one will be the most important one. Then the second part, when I was reading the guide, is there is a section where we can apply as a joint. That is, we've identified a project for that, and we have the manager to present something that we're proposing to council. We only have the right to apply for one application.
We'll only be approved for one.
For one, but for the joint one, we can apply for that. It doesn't affect it, so they are independent of for that. So we have some suggestions from public works and maintenance. So they will quickly share that. That is what we have here. We want the council to decide which one should be priority, and we should look at the joint application as well. That is for fire department.
Yeah, so just to quickly, so we're not spending a ton of time on this because I know we've got to get things moving. Under public works, there was talk about priorities being the Lido rebuild, the paving of the high priority areas, and then a new road development. And so those were the paving high priority areas to the Lido or the new building there. We all know what's going on there, so we could create some of the financial benefits if we were going to do more. The paving of the residential areas, the high priority ones, so that's Lamb, Traeger, Bagshaw, and Reader. And I really do believe we need to do something there sooner or later, like I would say Bagshaw and Reader before Lamb and Traeger, but if we could do the whole area, that would be great. I'm not too personally the back lanes. I think we need to get that machine out more often and see what it can do. And then the other areas within town, I would say I would leave that. So that's on the paving. I'm just gonna summarize them all just before we talk, and then we can just come back to them if you don't mind.
I just have one quick question, like we mentioned Bagshaw. I know we haven't budgeted yet, but we were talking that next year is Bagshaw,
We were gonna do this study this year to figure out how much it was gonna cost, so. Right?
Yeah, we're doing some test holes in Maple Leaf, kind of.
So then the other thing is real quick was that there was the track rubberization, so that's been going on for a gazillion years. Where we partner with Kelsey School Division, that's $1 million. Then our arena upgrade, so although our arena was recently upgraded, it was recently upgraded 20-some years ago, and it probably needs a facelift. So there's some things with regards to lobbies, offices, bathrooms. And then Centennial Park for $750,000 to create a more accessible, just sort of all around nice place for our community members. And then the last thing was around the fire department. I'm just gonna pull that up. So the fire department, there's a couple of things. One about the fire hall, so they believe that the current fire hall is maybe undersized now based on the usage of or potential future usage of apparatuses that were required. And then there was a suggestion of maybe a couple of new pieces of equipment as well. One is a pumper and one is a ladder truck. That would be included in this growth. So there's sort of 9 projects. We get to pick one. When you look at the fire department, maybe there's a potential for a combined project with the RMF Kelsey, because they could jointly propose one together with that, because we can sort of make that work because we supply services to them. So that's sort of where it's at. We can pick one. Councilor Hopper.
Question. Where are we getting our 50%? Is all these plans want to just debenture the money? Because we have 2 debentures that are coming up, and council had mentioned before, that was going to go into equipment reserve, because we've been taking a lot of money out of the equipment reserve. So is the plan the 50% on whatever project we pick, that's going to be debentured?
I'll have to defer to the CFO to find the money for us, I guess, to spend. I think Bola made a good point about also looking for additional grants, right? So if this is the one we want to move forward with, it gives us time to look for a federal grant to oppose it. That was one of the reasons we suggested the LIDO as a potential option, because that money is sort of already parked there, right? So to get additional funds to make it a bigger and better potential space, I think it's a bit of a decent option. The one that's not on here, and I apologize for jumping in, but we sort of kind of touched on it earlier tonight, was regarding community safety, right? So we do have some preliminary pricing on some of the cameras. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get on the agenda for this meeting, but public safety does fall under this thing, so that there's also a public safety component that if you guys want to consider for this as well.
We can only apply for one.
Yeah.
Is there anything to do?
Well, we can apply for one as a joint and one on our own.
Can the track and the arena be combined?
Yeah.
Or that'd be a stretch.
If in create the wording, I think you could probably
Recreation,
recreation
the recreation upgrade.
renovation and development.
I would I would look at that as one, and then, or 2, and the other is the paving.
Yeah, so
Again, it depends on how much you're gonna debenture, and come back and have to debenture 4 or 5 mils.
So the one option, and I don't know, I guess maybe was that let's say we apply for the full 10 million, right? We'll get the 5 million. We could spend that over the 3 years of the time frame. So we could turn the paving into a 3-year contract, so to speak, where we're doing 1/3. So that way we only have to come up with $1.5 million. Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
Dave.
ahead.
My big plan that I discussed during the management meeting is for us to work more on explore the possibility of getting funding. Looking for grants, as this is possible to start.
Bring back money.
So the best thing for us is to look for the federal option and look for grants. We are not 100% sure we're getting grants, 50%, but at least if we get something, that will really assist. Instead of cancel to approve the entire.
Yeah. So what I would ask is for us, and maybe you can email it to council, is that, can you just put this on a spreadsheet with the project? The investment, the town's investment for potential project, maybe some potential other funders. And give us a ranking from what the administration believes, because I'm sort of with Councilor Hopper. You know, I think the recreation part of it really needs to, it's something that our community thrives and our youth with regards to the track. But I also believe that we already want to build bag shop. So if that helps us offset, like fix those roads, so if that helps us offset some of that work. You know, so I think it would be good to get just a list so that we kind of can see it all together. And then go from there. I don't know, that's how I look at it, or I could make it myself.
What you're saying is basically we could apply for the paving aspect and group recreation, the track and the arena together as second one, and it could apply for both.
No, you can't.
No, so it's for that one, I think it's either or. I think it's either you put all of those behind,
Yeah.
If you look at the category, we have the road separately, public safety separately, then community infrastructure separately.
But what you could do is say, let's just talk hypothetically. You could apply for the pumper truck or a fire hall and apply jointly with the RM and Kelsey that where they could actually, so that would be our second one. Our joint one, and then our primary one where the community has to be either recreation or paving or public safety.
Yes.
That'll do the paving, I'm sure that firm we hired to look for grants will find money for that.
You know, and just thinking about that out loud though, that public safety one though, we could jointly, that camera, we could jointly apply for that with the RM Kelsey too.
Same with potentially the arena or rec, because we do have shared
Yeah.
rec agreements with the RM as well, and the certain community.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if we can get sort of a summarized list based on what you believe are realistic priorities. And for us, like, what is our community as council? I'll ask you guys, like, what is our community asking for?
I think recreation is probably the biggest one.
And community safety, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that that's fair to say those two. That said, I don't know if how much the community ever discusses a fire hall specifically, right? So that's not something maybe approaches their
And I would,
thought process.
I think we can find that, the recreation on our own. I think the paving, that would be the $8 one, if we could get that. We would over 3 years, but again, as the mayor says, give us a breakdown there.
Yeah, because we'll have to sort of project gas tax out.
Yeah.
It's federal, and we could stack the gas tax on top of the grant. And then we'd only have to come up with whatever was shortfall.
Because it'd be helpful if it's on one list, because right now it's like recreation's competing with the fire departments, competing with public works. And for us is that, you know, we might not, maybe the fire hall is the biggest thing, like, but I don't see that. You know, I'm recreation, I think about what our community members, community safety, right? Maybe part of it is the fire department, maybe it's cameras. But if I'm a financial, like Councilor Hopper said, the paving, you know, we're gonna have to do that anyways. So is that the best place where we use that and just chase the different grants for the stuff, other stuff? We're
Yeah,
talking about?
and then there's also, you can do like a small portion of a local improvement levy, which would be so minuscule. Potentially,
I like what you're saying.
Yeah, I would probably, I think I probably would believe in as well. I think of, like, that's why I asked about bag shots. If bag shots already getting done, and we could put this towards reader. There was 2 streets, Sam and I were, you know, teenagers, and those streets were terrible, so they've been like that forever. Yeah, we were at 1.5 years not long ago.
and just to further that, we did as part of, we squeezed in, and hopefully it doesn't put us over budget for paving, we cut out some significant portions of Traeger Drive, just to get rid of some of the humps, just to see how the patching holds up over a year, so we may hopefully buy some goodwill from the people of Traeger.
Oh, you were saying you cut it out like you're not doing it.
Yeah.
No, they're prepping it.
Okay, so I guess just to close this, because we could spend all night talking about this. If we need a separate meeting, to have council come to this, just let me know and I'll call the meeting if we could do it at lunchtime. And we have to have more, and I know there's a time constraints on this, so. You know, if we gotta meet again this week sometime at lunchtime or something, just let us know and I'll call a meeting, just whatever the rules are, and everybody can show up.
Just one last point here, just for clarification, this last, my own curiosity for the fire hall, like the actual new fire hall, where it's located on this map, is that not our land?
That's not our line.
We did,
Yeah.
we made a request,
It's OCN land, right?
we
No,
made some inroads with fire in that
Yeah, I believe there's been some
discussion.
preliminary discussion, we'll figure out what they would want for it. There was also hidden.
From CN.
Sure we can get it.
We have to know that this resolution has to be ready by this council meeting.
If you guys can get your stuff together, we'll come together in the next couple of days, and have a discussion, like. And then, I mean, really, it's a working group anyway, so it's not like. You know, just let's.
So if, because we weren't sure exactly where the temperature would be in the room, so if paving those high priority areas is kind of a top, let's say our list, we can now kind of refine that further into showing you like how many miles or, you know, sure.
But I think it's important for us to put it on a list so that recreation is not lost. Fire department's not lost, public safety is not lost, and if we sort of talk the same lingo in risk management. And benefits to the community, our community members can actually see what's out there. But it also should create that opportunity the next time we're having this discussion, when the next grant comes from, it's easier. Because we've already got it kind of ranked and sitting on the list.
And this grow grant, I think sounds like it's gonna be an annual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then these are all great ideas, they should all be ready for next year.
Yeah.
Or the next grant that comes out that we can go after, you know, and like whatever that happens to be a federal grant or whatever's there. I know like, you know, I'm pretty confident that we're gonna see some major, improvements in wildland. Fire protection equipment grants this year. And so I suspect that we'll need to be ready for that stuff too, right? Okay, you guys good? Okay. So just the rescheduling of,
Council meeting.
council meeting, so we just move it to the Tuesday. Everybody's okay with that?
Yeah.
I think it's in our bylaw, right?
From Monday to Tuesday.
Yeah,
15th to the 14th.
I think that's already in our operational bylaw, so I don't know if we have to pass any resolution for that.
We did 2 years ago when I started, I remember we did.
If we moved it from the week, if we moved it an entire week, we would have to.
Okay,
I could be wrong, no, but whatever's needed, yeah, like we'll just move it.
to 14.
And if it's not, then we should put it in.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
I think we're very simple about too, I think we did change that, so.
Okay.
Okay. This next, arena letter of understanding really should be in camera, but it's not now, but that's okay. So I don't know if I completely understand this, but we just are adding, there's no changing in the,
There is no change, it's, the only thing that will change is the different levels to 3 instead of 2, from level to the last level. So no financial thing, but it's just a provincial request. So we have to just follow what the government is asking us to do. So that is basically what we're doing.
And these levels are not currently described in the collective agreement. So the collective agreement only has the arena operator position, doesn't have these subsets of the positions. And those rates of pay are different, so we need to sort of come together to agree with the union in order to get it approved and in order for it to be.
so currently today, there's a rate of pay of what?
28.96,
Yeah.
then in 2023, 29.36 is something.
Yeah, but that's part of
That's in the collective.
Yeah.
In the club.
And then so what alls we're doing now is we're adding 2 positions below that? Is that what, so
Yeah.
the ice operator in training, the ice operator facility guy, and then the actual arena chief?
Yeah, that one stays the same, just the name, the nomenclature changes, the other 2 are new positions. With the rec director and HR, they've come up with a schedule of pay for those positions, so this is just getting it into the collective agreement. And that would need to be signed off, I believe, by the mayor in order to be as a letter of understanding in the collective.
You guys okay with that?
Impact on the budget?
This year will be 0 impact, it'll be something potentially for next year.
Why? Why, if we're already paying all of our people this one rate, if we're paying everybody always 28.96?
But those positions, and I'll have to check with the CFO, but those positions are vacant for a while, so if we're running on a 5-year average of the wages, we have to see
no.
how it may affect our,
Yeah,
it'll be nominal.
no, but I mean, and you're talking about if we always paid everybody 28.96, but now we're not going to. we're gonna pay one person, or we're gonna pay,
No, the operator in training is a different rate.
Yes.
So is the IFO.
Lower.
lower?
Yeah,
Yeah, but today, how would they be paid?
they wouldn't even, it wouldn't be an option.
Don't have those positions.
Yeah, we don't have.
Yeah, but you would be a regional operator.
Operator in training, it's already in there.
Yeah, and then same with the.
The IFO is new.
Yeah.
So that allows us to have that person.
A bump up. You're allowing them a transition to go once they start training, yeah, so anyways, I think I understand. You guys have any problems with it? I'll sign that then tonight. Okay, I don't know if the updates, for the, what we talked about needs to be in camera, but is it you requested in camera or?
For the lineup?
Yeah,
I don't think I did, we can do it however you guys prefer.
no, I think we can have this discussion, doesn't need to be in camera, I mean, this, you guys are doing some good work in that, so.
I don't see anything that needs to be on camera.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. As the mayor alluded to earlier today, we put a steering committee together. We asked the mayor and deputy mayor to join us so that council would have ears on the project. We brought I think a really good group of diverse people
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
into to the fold. We've had 2 meetings to date. We just got approval today from the insurance company to move ahead with number 10 architecture. And the story behind number 10 architecture for people at home. The original designer of the Lionel Theater, his son was one of the founding principals that eventually became number 10. So allowing us to kind of provide a nice homage to the old, but also kind of pivoting to a new rebrand, to building a community center / theater / whatever kind of comes forward for the community. So this will be a great project. We're very excited, obviously, to be part of it. We appreciate being put in the lead on this. We'll see if you guys are happy with that at the end.
And I just, for council, I mean, I think you guys were talking about, like, part of that whole project definition is, trying to figure out what you're gonna get. And I think one of your discussions so far, Sam, from what I've heard you talking about is, it's a multi-use, flexible sort of space where it's, you hear art gallery, but it's not the typical, it's a building and all there's in there is art, like it's a sort of a modern, flexible space where you can make adjustments and configuration changes to be able to do everything. But I also think some of the exciting things that are coming out of that is the discussion around partnerships and partnerships with UCN potentially and other sort of people out in the world that are into this sort of world. That, I think we could really do something, could be a really great project. Just I want to share for people in viewing land because they talk about it, when we talk about movie theaters, we're not building a movie theater. That's not what it's gonna be. But the space is gonna be flexible enough to show a movie. So it's not that everyone show a movie, that the potential is there for movies. There's a potential there to have theater, have, a band, have a wedding, hold an event, hold art, and then what was the talking about that's digital space or something?
Yeah, there was some discussion, giving space for Indigenous artists,
No, not indigenous, digital.
I'm sorry.
Indigenous, yeah, that was also discussed there.
So, we were looking into some immersive technology, which is very, very cool, very exciting. It kind of brings the space to life. So not your typical type of art gallery, the space sort of can be creative. And if the partnership with UCN is something that we can grow and develop, if they're gonna build an art program, those artists in the digital space can kind of create the art that can now display and be kind of fully featured in these immersive environments. Like the possibilities of a modern sort of setup is absolutely incredible and endless and could make can be a real community pillar and it could be a real tourist attraction. I think people would travel to come and see that.
And just that, I know council is gonna have this question as well, and it was brought up and you guys are working on it is, is the operating cost of that facility after, like, we have to figure that all out, who's gonna run it and all that. But, ideally, the things that are gonna go into this is gonna drive the operating cost down as low as humanly possible, where this is where you partner with Efficiency Manitoba and those type of things, where you're using geothermal, solar, how your lighting is, you know, your cooling and those type of things that you use it as a showcase like you have in Winnipeg for Manitoba Hydro Building.
Just two questions, not that I'm looking to get on another committee, but.
Be more careful that,
Normally, you're specifically asking, you say council reps, but you specifically ask for the mayor and deputy mayor to be on. That any particular reason?
I just thought it made,
Not, I know.
I thought it just made sense at the time. It wasn't something that I.
Okay, Andre's put his heart in this, so that's good. The other thing is, when we talked about this, early on, like in the early on phase, when we're still talking about with the insurance and all the rest of it, a business plan, and you alluded to that a little bit on the cost. I don't want to see a building that's gonna end up, wonderful it may be, costing the town money to operate.
Yeah.
We said, get it up and going, and we can pass it off to somebody, they pay taxes. That's what I'd like to see at the very end,
Yeah.
so a strong business plan where, how we're gonna realize that, that's my personal.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah, we don't want to leave the taxpayers in burden. That's.
And just for your information, that specifically was discussed at the last this meeting. Because we have a board member that was there, had experience in another community that they lived on. Or a person that's attending, that the community went out and built a arena. And they raised all this money for arena, and now the community can't afford to operate it. And that's so that's fully, the group's aware of that. As for attendance in the meeting, anybody from council is welcome to attend, so anytime you want. And if anybody has any issues with me being there, I have no problem stepping away as well, so. That's,
You're a good rep on
I'm not I'm just volunteering my time to see if we can make something happen. Okay, anything else with that? So thanks for all your guys' work on that, Sam and Tanvir. I know it's a little like herding cats, I guess, when you have all these great ideas and everybody going in different directions.
How often are the meetings, where are they, when are they?
So we just had 2 preliminary meetings here, back-to-back weeks, just to kind of get the ball rolling. Now we're in discussion with insurance and the architectural group, so there's gonna be probably a bit of a lull before the next one, so probably several weeks till we kind of have something to report back to the group. With some next steps and stuff. So,
Thanks for doing that.
no, it's our pleasure.
Okay, now we can move into in-camera. If somebody wants to move us into in-camera.
Resolved that we do now move ourselves into the in-camera portion of committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.